So I've been asking myself this question multiple times. Who is the least likely to be replaced by AI? And the answer that keeps coming back to me, as cringe as it might sound, is probably the celebrities or, influencers and people like that. So what I'm trying to say here is that look at what they actually have in common. They all have strong personality. They all have a very clear point of view and a story that belongs to them and only them. In other words, they all have very strong personal brands. And I genuinely think that's going to be becoming the strongest and the most irreplaceable mode that you can ever have in this AI era. So AI can do a lot of things, but the only thing that it cannot do is become a specific human being with a specific life, specific instinct and a perspective that's earned through actually living a life. So that's why you need to have something that is attached to your name and your face, your voice, your way of thinking, something that you actually own and control. And for most people, the most viable way to build that personal brand today is probably starting a YouTube channel. A lot of people think that AI will make individual creators less important and less valuable because AI right now makes content creation even much easier now. But I don't really think so. Sure, AI is incredibly good at producing structured and refined work in mass volume. But when the internet gets filled with, smooth, polished, machine-generated content, people really start to crave something that actually feels real. Not perfect, but actually real. And that scarcity is where the opportunity is. In a world where everything starts to sound smart, clean, optimized, in a very weird way, people who sound actually human stands out more. And you can actually already see this trend happening everywhere. Look at how platforms like Reddit and Rednote are increasingly leaning towards promoting the idea of real human advice, right? Real human experience and real human perspectives. And look at how products nowadays are trying to make AI sound less AI and more human, even though the products themselves are actually AI. So the value is shifting. It's shifting away from who can produce information and towards who can make information feel even more meaningful, credible, and most importantly, human. And that is exactly why personal brands today matter so much now. And like I said, starting a YouTube channel might be just the most viable way for average regular people to build their personal brands. YouTube is not just a content platform for me. It's a proof of human platform. Anyone can generate content now with AI, but not everyone can make people remember them, and not everyone can make people feel that, hey, I know this person's voice, I trust how they think, and I want to hear what's their take. And that is undoubtedly the strongest mode that anyone can have in this AI era. And the second reason why you should start a YouTube channel or a personal brand right now is that in this AI era, information itself is becoming really cheap. Not because information itself has no value, but because nowadays it's incredibly easy to get information with AI, right? And information is literally flying everywhere. So the real question is no longer, can I get information? And the real question now becomes, who do I actually trust? And that's the shift that I think a lot of people are missing. When everyone has super easy access to a huge amount of information, the information itself matters less. And what starts to matter more is the person, the source behind that information. And that is also why I truly believe that, credibility and trust will become the ultimate currency in this AI era. In the old world, if you had information, you had the advantage, right? But in this new world, everyone has access to information. AI flattened that. So now the advantage is not access. The advantage is trust. So who do people come back to when they feel that they're overwhelmed by the huge amount of information? And who do they believe when 10 people are saying 10 different things? And who do they actually listen to when they don't just want a generic answer, but they actually want an answer with judgment behind it? And that is where a personal brand starts to matter really a lot. So a YouTube channel is not just a place for the dumb content. It is a place for people to get familiar with your mind. What are your standards? And people also trust consistency, right? They trust seeing the same people showing up again and again with clear thinking, real opinions, a very clear point of view that feels like human. And the people who win are not necessarily the people who know the most. They are the people whose voice really cuts through the noise. So in a world that's flooded with information, people really don't need much more raw information. They need help deciding what is worth paying attention to. And that is exactly why I think a YouTube channel with a strong personal brand and strong credibility becomes so valuable in this AI era. So to summarize what I just said, when information is cheap, credibility really becomes expensive. And the third reason is pretty straightforward, right? Your YouTube channel will become your career insurance. As we all know, right? The job market is really bad, and AI is clearly the driver behind it. Companies are using AI to make teams leaner, cut roles and expect fewer people to do more work. And that is a big reason why we keep seeing so many rounds of layoffs recently, and jobs just feel so fragile right now when compared with before. So I actually have another video that talks about how AI is fundamentally driving those layoffs, and I will leave that link down below for that video for you. So in this kind of environment where your entire reputation lives inside of your employer, that is very risky, right? Your title belongs to the company, your internal influence belongs to the company, and even a lot of your perceived credibility belongs to your company. And the moment you leave, a big part of that can disappear overnight, and that is just so fragile. So when you start a YouTube channel, you really have the opportunity to build a personal brand that's not fully dependent on your company, and it creates an independent reputation layer around you. And that matters a lot, because if your company restructures, your team gets cut, or the market stays weak, you're not starting from ground zero. You already have credibility from your personal brand, and that is something that truly belongs to you. And another reason why I think you should start a YouTube channel or creating a personal brand is that it gives you leverage to monetize so much in this AI era. So here's what's AI changing really fast, right? It's making it way easier to build things. Software is now easier to build. Physical products are easier to prototype, and a lot of technical barriers that used to stop people from building are actually getting lower and lower. So nowadays, building is really not the biggest advantage anymore. You know what is? Selling is. So a lot of people are going to be able to make products right now, and a lot of them are going to be launching their own apps, their own brand, their own small businesses. So when everyone can build, the real leverage moves to the people who can actually earn trust, hold attention, and eventually convert to a sale. So at the end of the day, no matter how AI makes it easier to produce or to create stuff, you still need to market, you still need to sell. That doesn't change. And that is exactly where a personal brand becomes so powerful in this AI era. Because if you have a personal brand and over time you have built credibility, trust, and real connection with your people, you already have distribution. And more importantly, you already have trust. And that is a massive advantage in driving conversion in this AI era. So later, when you actually build something, you're not fighting for attention from, complete strangers. You're launching into people who already know about you and already have trust in you. And even if you don't end up building your own product, this still matters. Like I said, because in the AI era, the barrier to build things is dropping so fast that the world is going to be flooded with new products, right? And once that happens, brands will desperately need trusted people to help them stand out. And you'd be surprised to see how many brand deal opportunities a strong YouTube channel with credibility and trust is going to make. So now that I've done preaching on the importance of starting a personal brand or YouTube channel, here is my final advice for actually getting started. So in the AI era, a lot of people are going to spend their time, learning how to make things go faster and keep up with AI. But fewer people are actually going to be spending time learning how to become someone worth listening to. And I think that second part is going to matter more than ever. So don't just focus on speed, focus on building real perspectives, real judgment, and a way of thinking that people actually want to come back for. And also don't treat starting a YouTube channel or a personal brand like some huge life decisions that needs to be perfectly figured out before you begin. Treat it like you're building an asset, because that's, what it really is. So start before you feel you're qualified, start before your thoughts feel fully polished, start while you are still figuring things out. Your first video is not probably going to be great. I'm stating the obvious here, but that's not the point. The point here is that a year from now, you could have a body of work, a stronger voice, a better storytelling skill, and maybe even an audience that already knows and trusts you. And when you do, don't try to sound like a YouTuber, right? Don't try to manufacture a fake creator energy. Just say something real and say something useful, say something that, actually reflects how you think. Just be you. And that's very important, because at the end of the day, that's how people really, connect to you. And one more thing, that is to use AI. Don't hide behind it. Use it to brainstorm, tighten your scripts, improve your titles, speed up your workflow. but don't let it flatten your perspective. The goal is not to become more generic, faster. The goal is to become you more clearly and more consistently. So if you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I really think this is the right time. And people who start right now, even imperfectly, are going to be in a much better position than people who just keep waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment will never come and you just have to start now. All right, guys, that was it for this video. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. That really helps me a lot. Thank you so much.